Recording in progress.
All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the September 17th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I'm First Selectman Colin Mullen. I call this meeting to order. Everyone, please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to open up the floor to public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Tracy McDonough, 92 Stonegate Lane. On September 1st, I sent, or included you all in an email that I sent to the Library Commission regarding the new law passed by the state of Connecticut regarding collection development, library display, and library material review. This is a law that requires the public libraries in Connecticut to submit policies, that's okay, with appropriate wording regarding the collection development, library display, and library material review, and they must be approved by the Connecticut State Library by November 1st. Policies can be submitted for review by the Connecticut State Library by October 1st. I'm here tonight to just reiterate my concerns with the commission ensuring that they do submit the policies for review. And in my email, I stated that I was concerned around the legal risk to Suffield if we do not. And this concern was validated by Attorney Donnelly at last week's Library Commission meeting. So I would just like to reiterate that this should be on your radar because this is a huge concern for this town if we do not submit these policies and get them approved by the state by November 1st. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? All right, seeing none, is there any public comment on Zoom? Any public comment on Zoom? All right, seeing none, we're going to move to item 3, discussion and approval of the minutes from the September 3rd, 2025, regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen.
So this is Kathy Harrington. I move that they be adopted as drafted. I just have 2 minor changes. On page 2, for the charter of vision questions, I had in the agenda that it started with the word should, and in the minutes we have shall. I know it's not a huge difference, but I think it should
We're
be.
using the old version of the agenda.
Why do I do that all the time? I apologize. So strike that. And then just Selectman Hill's motion and First Selectman Mall's request for executive session just need closed quotation marks on, I think, one of the last pages. That's it then.
All right, thank you. The motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 4 is discussion and approval of tax abatement in the amount of $4,939.04 to Lucinda Lanier due to overpayment.
Is Kathy Harrington so moved?
The motion has been made. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 5 is discussion and approval to purchase Kaplan Farm from the Open Space Fund and refer to the Board of Finance. And for clarification, we're purchasing the development rights. So I have purchase of the farm. I do have Bill Hawkins, Director of Planning and Development, here with us.
So
You can come up, Bill.
if I may just interrupt, so this is Kathy Harrington. So I'm in a butter to the property. So I think that I have either a conflict or might be what perceived as a conflict of financial and or personal beneficial interest. So I'm going to recuse myself and I'm going to leave the room, if that can just be noted in the minutes.
Okay.
And then if someone can just remember to come get me, please. And Bill, thank you so much for picking up my sign.
You really want to come back?
This is Claire Belanco. I'm also going to recuse myself due to a perceived conflict of interest.
All right. Thank you.
I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, you guys live kind of close.
If either one of us goes, we're in big trouble.
You've never been a majority.
That's right,
All right, Bill, I got 3 of us.
We're going to talk about the police bond.
yeah.
All right, well, good evening. I did submit a memo on this, talking about the Kaplan Farm, our latest farmland preservation project. Located at 714 North Street, it's about 47 acres. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Zero Equipment, the business that's on North Street. It's the same property. You can't really see the farmland from North Street though, as it's all sort of behind houses on the road. So here tonight seeking the board's approval to refer the purchase of development rights to the Board of Finance and town meeting. So this property has been on our list for over 20 years, I believe. It was on this list when I started. It's just the owners weren't really ready to move forward. But a couple of years ago, they approached the town, trying to figure out what they wanted to do with the property. And so farmland preservation was an option, and they submitted their application to the state in September of 2023, which scored well with the Department of Agriculture, and we've been working through the process ever since. So the property itself is about 45 acres of cropland and hay and tobacco most recently, and nearly the entire property is considered prime and important farmland soils, which is really key and helpful with the Department of Agriculture. That's what they're looking to do, is preserve those soils. There's no residence on the property. There's a tobacco shed, and all the buildings associated with Zero Equipment and the business are not going to be part of the development rights area. Those are going to be kind of carved out when the survey is completed. In terms of development potential, there are public utilities on North Street. There's some wetlands, about 19 acres, but there's also access from Farmstead Lane. When that subdivision was done, there was a 50-foot right-of-way to this property. So the idea would have been to continue Farmstead Lane or North Street and connect the two. So we anticipate, well, not anticipate, but in terms of configuration of a subdivision, possibly 18 to 22 lots. If there was some different type of development, maybe more. But there is development potential with this piece. But it's also adjacent to a number of other parcels that are preserved. The Suffolk Land Conservancy has about 30 acres to the south. I forgot to put this in there, but the town owns about 14 acres to the north of the property, the Roseburg open space. So if everything is preserved, that would be about 90 acres of open space in total in one block there.
That was my question. They're all gonna be connected?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it would be.
What was the property north? I missed that.
The Roseburg open space piece that we lease? Yep. So in terms of the financials, we did have 2 appraisals done last year. The high number was $355,000 for the development rights, and the State Department of Agriculture offered pretty much that, $354,750. After receiving that offer, the Kaplans thought about it, and they decided to negotiate a bit and get their own appraisal done, which they did. The Department of Agriculture reviewed that and then revised their offer to $385,535, which the owners accepted back in July. So the town is contributing, or we would like to, assuming approvals, and we would be responsible for about 25% of the cost, which is $95,268. And we're in the process of having a survey done. It won't be completed, or it's not due until December. So depending on the acreage that comes back, sometimes it might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. That number will be adjusted accordingly, but we won't know until that's finished. The money would come from the open space account, the current balance of which is $959,359. So that's about it. Other board action, as I mentioned, Board of Finance, town meeting would have to also approve this, assuming the board approves it tonight. I have a suggested motion there if you are agreeable, and of course, if you have any questions, let me know.
Thanks, Bill,
Is
appreciate
this
it.
about the pond back there by the old Fuller residence?
The pond, I think that's on the Land Conservancy property,
Okay.
and it is, yeah, so it would be right next to that.
And do we have any more farmland preservation items coming up in the next year or so?
I think it's possible. We are working with another property currently. We haven't gotten to the point of getting appraisals yet, but it's in the process. So if that keeps moving along, I would say within a year, I would be, looking to come back with that one.
How does $95,000 fit with our budget?
Currently, the balance of the open space account is healthy.
Yeah.
So if this project is completed, we'd have $864,000.
That's why I was thinking, I'm
Yeah.
thinking ahead.
Absolutely.
You guys have any other questions?
Seems great.
All right, well then I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of development rights to Kaplan Farm from the Open Space Fund and refer to the Board of Finance.
Do you want to make that motion, or Bill, should I read it off of the recommendation? It doesn't matter?
That doesn't,
Okay, all right, sorry.
covers it,
That's
yeah.
fine. All right, any discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 3-0. Bill, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Email been a lot of changes, but you guys want to go on?
Okay. You didn't change seats or anything?
That would have been funny though. That'd be
If I came in.
All right, you guys are back.
Yes.
Item number 6 is update on radio project. I've invited Chief Cannon to join us tonight and provide the board updates on the radio project, approval of the meeting. Chief,
Good evening.
thanks for joining us.
Okay, so, as far as an update on the radio project, as you know, after the town vote, we started down the process of negotiating with our vendor. We were able to get a contract signed in May, at which point shortly thereafter, we held a kickoff meeting and planned kind of the remainder of the project and how we're gonna start. We've made 2 payments to them already. They've ordered all the electronic equipment necessary. The police department's already received the portable radios, they're currently in use. Fire, DPW, and the schools and SBAA, there's some back order issues with batteries and chargers, and also getting some of the licensing through the FCC for some of the radios. So there's a slight delay there, but those will be coming. Mobile radios have been ordered. Pagers have been received for the fire department, for all the fire department members. We're currently working with 2 vendors on the dispatch center. We're gonna make a decision here probably within the next week or 2 as to which one we're gonna use to update the furniture in there with the new equipment coming in. We've had multiple visits to our 3 outside tower locations, the American Tower in Agawam on 159, Crown Castle at the landfill, in addition to Betty Lane Water Tower. Through those visits, we've been able to do a couple of things. One, there is a shelter already in place at the American Tower in Agawam. If we rehab it, which is gonna be roughly the cost of about $10,000, we don't have to spend $70,000 to build one. There was an offer for us to purchase it for $1. We considered it for a period of time, but it was also going to increase our monthly costs that we had already anticipated based on the budget that we had presented earlier. So we decided not to do that. So we'll just continue with the basic leasing option there. We do have a bit of an issue with the Crown Castle company. We have an agreement with them that allows us to use the property for purposes of our equipment. We read the contract, as do our consultants, that gives us entire access to the property. Crown Castle reads it as it gives us access to the tower, but not the ground, and they're telling us we may need to pay a lease fee for the ground fee, like we would be doing in Agawam. So that's currently sitting with Attorney Donnelly, who reads it much the same way we do, and he's having conversations with them, so I'm waiting to hear back from him relative to that. With respect to the new towers to be built, they've done all the soil samples and readings necessary at Station 4 in Thompsonville and the police department. All the specs have been completed. They were presented to planning and zoning with assistance from Bill Hawkins, thank you, Bill, and presented to planning and zoning the other night, which was, it moved on for an October 20 meeting, public meeting. So that'll be our opportunity there. Hopefully we can have some type of a vote there to allow us to move forward and start the actual building process for the 2 towers. As far as the fiber line, Rebecca Osliger has been working on that, dealing with both Eversource and Frontier. We initially thought we had 1 fee to pay, application fee, but we had to pay them both the same fee. So that was a little expenditure there that was unanticipated. essentially what we had to do is identify all the poles that we're gonna need to have fiber lines run onto them. And then there was a fee associated with an attachment fee, make-ready fee if the pole needs some additional work to make that done. The application fee has been submitted, the plans have been submitted, and there's a 45-day waiting period. If neither entity, Eversource or Frontier, take action on that, on day 46, we can start a temporary attachment and start moving that project forward. That is, I think, October 26th. So with any luck, after the October 20 meeting and the public meeting and the October 26th deadline there, with that, we should be able to start making some progress on both ends there. We meet bi-weekly as a team with our vendor, and just to make sure we're dotting the i's and crossing the t's relative to the entirety of the project. But right now, we're in a bit of a holding pattern pending the contract resolution with Crown Castle, and we're in the process of getting an agreement signed with American up in 9/1 as well. We're going back and forth with some language for that as well. So the project is anticipated to be completed sometime October of 26, so they gave us about an 18-month timeline. You know, they're assessing for some basic delays and things of that nature. I think that's kind of where we're at currently. To this point, I'm not aware that any of the delays we're currently seeing are gonna make us miss that deadline. So we are moving forward pretty quickly.
Great. Thanks, Chief. Anyone have any questions for him?
With the equipment that you've gotten so far, how's that help?
It seems to be working a little better on the radios, the portables. We seem to have a little better coverage, but once the entirety of the system is built, we'll have much better coverage. We're having some minor issues with the volume control relative to when we speak into it. It's coming out a little light on the other end, so they're working on that, and they're just making a quick modification on that, but everything seems to be working well so far.
And then I'm assuming that the October PZC meeting, you kind of really need an answer then, because it's gonna get too cold for cement and all that, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't anticipate, I hope there wouldn't be any issues there, but that's, it seems like everything's fairly buttoned up. I mean, I didn't have any questions, I was the only one, so, thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Chief.
Very good.
I just want to thank Chief real quick for, his work on this. He's diligent, he's organized, and keeps the group moving, so thanks, Chief.
Sure. Very good. Thank you all.
I was gonna stop over, before I came to the meeting, there was unfortunately another shooting in Pennsylvania where some officers were killed, and I just want to pass along to the force. I always remember Hill Street Bruce, I'm more than enough, and he used to say, be safe. My thoughts and prayers are with all of you.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, Chief. Appreciate everything.
Thank you.
All right, item number 7 is discussion of the Small Town Economic Assistance Program grant, STEEP. I do have our Economic Development Specialist, Chad Kuzinkowski, with us, and I don't know if our EDC Chair, Gail Demko, would like to join us. You're more than welcome to come up if you'd like, otherwise, just be Chad. So the grant isn't ready until February, but came up with this idea, and I've tasked Chad recently with following up with the EDC and some of our businesses to direct the grant towards this. In the past, we've gone towards infrastructure like Quarry Road Bridge. We've received $500,000 for that. There is an economic development portion to this grant, and I think this year I'd like to try to apply for a full $1 million on it to upgrade all of our business centers in town. It's a pretty heavy lift. I told Chad, you gotta reach out to the main retail centers and see if they would be open to it. Obviously, there's design phases and cost to it. You gotta get these guys on board. I think it would benefit over 30 businesses. I don't even know how many businesses are in all the buildings we're looking at, Chad, but it's a good number. I think we've been really successful with our TIF grant and what it's done for the businesses in the center of town. So I want to piggyback off that with this $1 million grant. Chad, I'll turn it over to you. You guys received the memo from him, and he can tell you where he's gone so far.
Great. Yeah, so requesting approval for the Small Town Economic Assistant Program to apply for it for $1 million. You know, as Colin said, the goal is to establish a business improvement grant program where the businesses would put in 10% and then the grant would cover the remainder of it. There is a 20% recommendation for a match. So certain costs, like design costs, are not in that equation. So there may be an additional cost there separate from the grant that we'd have to look into. It's a real opportunity, though, to make a transformative change in town. You know, it would be for things like the building facades, windows potentially, roofing, siding, potentially parking lot, signage, upgrades. I think it would really position Suffield as a competitive place for businesses and just as a real vibrant community. And I do think there's multiple businesses that could benefit from it, whether it's in the center of town or outside. I have touched base with a lot of the property owners in town to see if they would be willing to participate. And certain, honestly, I've pretty much got 100% participation for anybody I've spoken with. I mean, 90% of the cost of this renovations would be a huge benefit. Just for example, the Suffield Village at 11 High Street owner was willing to commit up to $200,000, which would be well and above the 10% of the million in just that one circumstance. But there's others like Mountain Road Plaza owner, West Suffield Shops owner, Ebbs Corner owner, certain properties in the neighborhood commercial district, which is over by the Valero, over by the Enfield Bridge. And I'm working on others. But I think even with that participation really covers the majority of the town. So with that said, any questions before we go to a motion?
I have a question. Where Santos is, that strip there. So if one business person wants to do something to their facade, can they do it independent if nobody else wanted to do it? Or do they all have to be in agreement?
I've really been talking to the property owners more than the individual businesses.
Okay.
To make, so for example, when you look at the Mountain Road Plaza there, like you said, the Zanto entrance, you know, that way it could be, but that whole building, you know, being owned by one person,
Right.
they could make something that covers the whole area as opposed to necessary. But, you know, certain things like signage, we want to touch bases with the business directly on. If we're gonna do a whole, you know, signage revamp, obviously they'd want to participate. And it would be a cooperative effort between me, the EDC, you, and the business owners in terms of what would be done specifically. So that way we would, you know, we would know specifically what they're gonna do, sign off on it, and that kind of thing.
Well, it's one building, so I think you'd want to look for
I'm
some
sorry?
level, it's one building, you'd want to look for some level of uniformity.
I would just, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
South Street properties want to do something to the businesses going on South Street.
I think
Towards Windsor
South
Limes.
Street, I'm trying to, down in the industrial area. I haven't really got too many businesses on board from that particular area. I think the focus, and of course we can branch out, but initially the focus is on business centers, shopping centers, really the high visibility, high used areas. Not to say that certain areas of South Street aren't used, and by all means we can incorporate them as well.
But it's only $1 million, so if you're
Yes.
looking at doing siding, you're gonna hit $1 million fairly quickly.
Yep.
I'll just keep that in mind, so we don't wanna reach out to too many people. Let's see what these costs are with these retail centers.
And if there's another, I'm thinking of something in particular, which
Sure.
I'll tell you later. Can they contact you to see if they can get consideration?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think what we're looking for tonight is unofficial approval,
Mhm.
because the
Yeah.
grant's not out there yet.
Right. Right.
It's a lot of work. I mean, he's gonna have to talk to historic, he's gonna have to talk to, what is it? District
Design review board.
Design review board, and
Yeah.
then, you know, get quotes, designs. I don't want him to do all this work if come
Absolutely.
February, we go to apply and you guys are like, oh, we don't really like this.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So when you apply for the grant, you have to have the businesses in place of what you're gonna do?
yeah, the grant is a very short window to apply for the grant and be approved for the grant. And they want the projects to be shovel-ready. So really, all the work should be done as far as designing, approvals, getting the quotes, pretty much being ready to go. All the designs need to be completed for us to have a real good shot at this grant.
Yep, okay.
Chad, what's the deadline for applying?
Well, typically, they'll release the grant application period will start in around January, and it ends in February. If they do it this year, there's still a question if they'll actually, but they usually do it annually, so.
Okay.
Have we ever gotten a grant this large
Yeah, lots of grants.
for Stratton and Steve?
For Steve, in my time, it's only been $500,000.
So I don't have any questions, Chad, but, because the questions I did have, you answered.
Great.
Which was my concern was, we had done the TIF and I wasn't sure what the appetite was or the interest, but it sounds like there is a lot of interest from the property owners, from the retail centers. And understanding now that we're going from, maybe TIF was more like each individual business, whatever they may be doing now, this would be the actual buildings and the facades. So I think
Yeah.
it's a great idea, and, I say good luck.
I think the other aspect of it is the amounts, the TIF had a $25,000 cap, where this doesn't, it's got $1 million cap, but obviously we don't want to do just one
Yeah.
project, I wouldn't think, but we'll see what comes out.
And the other thing I just wanted to mention was I think it's a good idea that we're doing, like, at least reaching out here in town, like directly in the town center, Ebbs, a lot of different areas.
Yeah,
Suffield and West
Right.
Suffield, I think is important.
it's an opportunity to include them where they weren't included in the TIF area because that's restricted by the
Yep.
district itself, so.
Can we change, or is it, maybe it's the state, can we change to the landowners or the business owners, instead of paying 10%, 20%, so we can stretch that $1 million out farther, or is that locked in stone with the state?
It really is not locked in stone. We could, anything that's decided upon, we can change.
You know what I mean? Because if there's a lot of interest, I think it'd be better to try and spread it out as much as we can.
Yeah, I was asking Chad, I think we should get some buy-in, because the town, it helps if the town has 20%, but if the business owners are covering 20%, that's the town's portion. They can donate it to us, and then we can cover the 20%.
Right, right.
But that gives buy-in, like, that they're invested.
Correct, yeah. Yep.
And it also spreads the money, so I like that.
And I don't think any business owner is gonna mind paying 20% of a project. I think they'd be thrilled.
It's a really great investment for them.
Yeah, okay, great.
Did you have any questions, Cal?
You answered it, thank you, Chad.
So collectively, I think we're all pretty much on board with this?
Yep.
Do you need a motion or anything?
No, not yet. He's gonna go back, work with EDC.
Okay.
and then
Okay.
Good luck.
All right,
Great.
thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it. Thank you.
Nice job, Gail.
All right, item number 8 is discussion and approval to transfer funds to replace and relocate the entrance gate at the landfill and refer to the Board of Finance. DPW Director Lee Corbett is here tonight. I sent you guys a memo from him. Thanks for coming out, Lee.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate your time. Floor is yours.
Okay, so everybody's got the memo, had a chance to read it. So long story short is, in almost the 2 years that I've been here, that gate's been broken 3 times now. And it's not just been the gate that's gotten damaged, it's the vehicles that have hit it. 2 of which have been town vehicles, which means we're on the hook for the repairs to those vehicles as well. I have asked for the money from ACE over the last 2 fiscal budget years, and money was not suggested to the Board of Selectmen. But with this just happening again recently, and I'm not sure if you all got the photo of the recent damage to the gate, it's just getting to a point where it's getting a little ridiculous. It's a safety issue. So I'm asking for is the money to put an electric gate at the top of the hill, which would be safer for our roll-off trucks, which is hanging out into Mountain Road right now when they pull up to open the gate. trucks, so there's no park in those trucks. It's, you put the truck in neutral and you have your air brakes. If for whatever reason those ever fail, that truck's going straight across Mountain Road into that guardrail and down that embankment. Also, when the landfill is closed, it doesn't give residents much room to maneuver to get back onto Mountain Road where the gate is right now. So with the gate being up at the top of the hill, that would allow them, the area at the top of the hill, to do a three-point turn to come back down safely and pull out onto Mountain Road.
Anyone have questions for me?
Are there any issues with the slope, with ice and that in the winter?
Oh, of course, like, we're constantly salting that slope in the wintertime. We've done drainage on the sides of the entrance, but once we get enough snowpack and ice pack, it just keeps melting off down at that edge right there, so it's a constant battle, like, every day.
Does it have any impact on the solar project up there?
None at all, so the solar project is entering from a different area.
Okay.
This would strictly be for residents, landfill employees, and the people who maintain the cell phone tower right there.
So can you explain, just so we can discuss it, the funding? that you're
Okay,
looking-
yep. So with the funding, I looked through some accounts, and Brad was nice enough to send me a few accounts that he was thinking of as well. Accounts that the money's already been spent for the projects. Most of these that I've sent you are projects that had to do with myself and my department anyways. So that would be the landfill garage floor, so we still have $5,437.59 in that capital fund. The project has been complete for quite some time. We did that work in-house, so that's the savings by doing the work in-house. Landfill scale improvements, the new landfill scale has been installed, the job is completed. We have $12,879.31 left in that capital account. Sunrise Park handicap walkway, we just completed that project, and we have $7,920.10 left over in that account.
Is that work you guys did yourself in-house?
We did part of that ourselves, and part of it we had subbed out because we were very busy on road jobs right now.
Is that where the savings comes from, by bringing it in-house?
Correct. The landfill entrance gate, there was an existing count for that, that Brad had found for me, that has $4,678.12 in it. And then road saw, which is a road saw that we had a capital account for cutting asphalt, we have $208 off of that, which totals $31,123.12. So at the time that I originally did this, I had an initial price for this job. Since then, I've gone out because of the initial price. I got 2 other bids to see what we were gonna come in, if I was gonna have to write an RFP. It's over $20,000, and I have to write an RFP, and it has to be closed sealed bids. We did end up getting a bid for the gate for $19,888.45, and then the electrical is $1,500. So that comes out to $21,388.45, so significantly less than $31,123 I was asking for originally. So the amount I'm requesting is $21,388.45.
What was that again, 21,000?
$388.45.
And I'm assuming because it's 2 different vendors, and it goes over the 20,000, that's why we're good, right?
Correct, it's, the electrician is completely a different
Right,
company
that's what I thought.
from the gate
Okay.
company. So we had one gate company that came in under the $20,000
Yeah,
threshold.
okay.
Thanks, Pete, because that was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise I would have said, I told you I would have been writing an RFP.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But I have the 3 bids, which is part of our bid policy. If it's over 10,000, you have to have 3 bids.
I mean, I've seen the gate, it's pretty close to the road. 31 feet's not very long, I think it's the length of this room, to give you a perspective. So you're gonna move it up to the top of the hill,
But
which
it'll be at
flattens
the
off.
top of the hill, and it'll be a roller gate, kind of like, if any of you've been to the PD, it'll be like that. So as you're pulling up, it'll be rolling to your right, and it will be controlled by, there will be a keypad there for if we have a service vendor that needs to get up there after hours. But there will be remotes for the town vehicles and town employees to use, so it'll just be like a garage door where you press a button, drive up, and then press a button when you're getting inside or after you pull down, and it'll close.
What's the total of the damages that you've paid so far?
So the last truck, I believe, was $6,800 to have that truck repaired. And then we just had another one, which I'm not sure on this last one from the picture that you saw. I haven't seen the bills come in for that repair yet.
What about the cost of the fence?
Oh, yeah, so, well, first time it got hit by a private contractor who had to reimburse the town. That was, I believe, $3,200 or $3,700. And then we had it got hit again, and I believe we had to pay another $3,200 or $3,700 for the right side. So just to explain to you what's happening is people aren't getting out and opening both gates. They're opening one side and trying to sneak through on that left side, and they're hooking up on that pole that you see, and then it's pulling it into the vehicle and then riding the whole way down, because once they're into it, they've either got to keep going forward or have to try and back out of it, which is going to usually run that pole right into and through a doorway. So
What are you doing to prevent that?
they're putting an electric gate in where there's no worry about if somebody's going to open both sides, they press a button now. It takes that right out of the equation.
So the button's outside and someone drives up and you reach out your window and
So there will be a keypad there for, like I said, for outside vendors or for anybody who doesn't have a remote control, but there will be on a garage remote control. So, for example, if a driver leaves the place to go dump one of our cans, they'll press a button to open the gate. On a closed day, the gate will open. After they drive through, they press the button again, and the gate will close by itself.
Do we get are we gonna have a contract for like maintenance and upkeep?
It's just typical, just like so the police department gate kept breaking. I had a contractor out there, actually this week, who finally got it fixed. There's normal wear and tear on any gate. It's not super common.
So we just call in a contractor as needed?
Pretty much, and there's a lot of simple things that we can fix ourselves. It would be like if a motor went on it for some reason, then we would call the contractor to replace the motor.
On days that the landfill is open, will the gate just be left open?
Correct, so
Okay.
as the employee pulls in, he presses the button, opens the
Leaves it
gate for the
open
day.
For the day,
So
okay.
it's not getting as much use to say the police department gate, which gets open and closed on a regular basis all day long. So a lot less wear and tear on this gate. And it is a 30-foot gate, so it's quite long, but we want that whole opening up there, and that's how far up we need to go in order for a car to safely make a three-point turn getting up to the top.
so you guarantee none of the town employees will hit the gate anymore?
If they hit the gate now, then there's gonna be some serious problems. Because honestly, this is the only way that I can get this to stop. And like I said, it's not just to the town employees. The first time this got hit, when I first started working here, this is a private contractor who had the code to the gate to work up on the cell phone tower, and, was lazy about opening the second gate and smacked into it and ruined their truck.
One other thought, Mel brought up a good point about ice on the road, where the new gate is proposed to be. Do you have any concerns with the
Yep.
incline there?
So it's further up the hill.
Okay,
So the problem with where the gate is now is that ice tends to really sheet and form right in front of that gate, right in front of Mountain Road there. Where as you start going up the hill, the water's running down, so
Okay.
it's not an issue the further up you go. So
Sure.
it's gonna be much safer up at the top of the hill.
I mean, I'm in favor of it, and you save the town, continue to save the town money every year with doing work in-house and then being able to do more work due to that, so I would otherwise say if we wait till the budget season and let them go through that process, but I know he's requested it twice. I'd rather not pay for these repairs, and I think you do have to address with your employees, like, this is expensive, it's costing us a lot of money, there's gotta be some sort of consequence to it. But I would be in favor of doing this, just because of the savings you've created, you've shown it in the accounts. Anyone else have any concerns?
No,
questions?
the money's sitting in those accounts that have already closed. I don't have an issue with it.
So this is Kathy Harrington. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the transfer of funds to replace and relocate the entrance gate at the landfill and refer it to the Board of Finance.
All right, the motion has been made, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks.
Thank you all.
Lady.
Appreciate the time tonight.
Have a great night. Thanks for coming out. All right, Item number 9 is discussion and approval on the Permanent Building Commission's recommendation of a firm to provide owner's project manager OPM services for the town of Suffield, transfer funds, and refer to the Board of Finance. We have Chair of the PBC, Kevin Goff, Vice Chair Len Nielsen with us.
How you doing? We're doing well. Good to see you again.
So last time you were here, we tasked you with the RFP to find us a consultant, and why don't you tell us?
We found them.
Yeah, we have.
We found them. Did a lot of interviewing, we had a lot of activity. Probably folks know or don't know.
How long's it been?
Well, we released the RFP on July 3rd, and we had a mandatory walkthrough on the 17th of July. We asked for RFIs to come back to us on August 6th, and we opened the proposals on August 15th. We did firm interviews starting on roughly the 22nd of August. And we opened the bids on, 8/15, and then we selected 4 out of the 7 applicants. We had 8 companies come to the walkthrough. 7 of those 8 were interested in providing proposals. We selected 4 for interviews, and we selected 1 out of those 4. And it was a tough decision. There was a lot of discussion on the BBC about, who had the best proposal, who had the best interview, who we thought had the right people that would match up with the town. And ultimately, it came down to Colliers, project leaders, and they are a large national company that does a lot of real estate consulting, things like that. Sorry I didn't get this to you sooner, but this is a summary of what was in their proposal, and the columns on the right-hand side, just so you understand where the check marks. Under SMS, the middle school, these are the things that they included in their fee of $57,350. I want to talk about, we asked for a lump sum total, and it ranged from $57,350 as the low bidder, all the way up to $262,000. And the discrepancy between those lump sums was what did each person include. Some of them included items that we're now listing as anticipated costs, and beyond those anticipated costs, we also included some potential costs based on whether or not we're going to choose a new site for either one of the 2 projects. So we have a base bid of $57,000 that includes these services that are checked under the blue column. We have an anticipated additional cost of about $110,000 for fees such as an ed spec, such as a architectural survey of the firehouse. Let's see, what else?
When you say anticipated, you basically mean these are.
We know that
it's
these
got
expenses are coming.
Yeah, okay.
We just don't know what the real number is.
Yeah.
These are kind of
Round
budgetary
numbers.
figures that are in here. And Colliers will be developing, assuming that we can get to a contract approval with them. They will be, their first task is going to be to create a schedule, get the ed spec started, because that is the longest lead time item, and it's the most complicated thing to accomplish. That's really going to drive our whole schedule. Long term, we're going to be following the school's schedule. The firehouse will move along much quicker because we don't need to go to the state for reimbursement approvals. So the firehouse will follow along in parallel, but the school is going to drive really what the deadlines are. So Colliers, we're going to ask Colliers to decide whether we hire 1 architect or 2, 1 for the school, 1 for the firehouse, and we're going to rely on them to bring their resources for all of the information about state reimbursements and what's the best way to arrive at a good decision of whether we continue what we're doing with capital improvement projects, we renovate existing buildings as new, or we replace the existing buildings with new buildings, either on the same site or at a new site. So that's the rough summary of what we're asking for. Now, that will get us, hopefully, to a referendum in November of '26. We got feedback from the 7 people we interviewed about how aggressive that schedule was. If we don't do it by November of '26, the school project, we won't make the end of the year deadlines for the school reimbursement. So if we don't make that deadline, it's possible that the school gets pushed back another year.
Is it end of year or June? I always thought it was June.
So there is a June application,
Okay,
but if we don't have our referendum approved for December 15th,
gotcha.
after the application date, then we don't get considered until the following year. And we felt, as a committee, that Colliers had the best handle on that whole process. And that's why we're here to recommend Colliers.
Yeah, they were very, very well versed on the tech data report, as you folks do, that our former first selectman had done. And there's a lot of information in there, and of course, as you folks know, you folks handed to us the review, and what we did, we have, you know, the folks that are on that committee, we've got architects, we've got builders, we've got everybody, the son on that board. We said, we're gonna go out there and basically check Tecton.
Right.
And,
Yeah, we found them to be.
and basically, our decision was that they're pretty much in check, okay? There were some discrepancies. But when we did the interview with these folks, they were head-on with Tecton. They had done a ton of research on it, okay? And when it came to the firehouse up there, you know, they already said to us, so, you know, there's a plan in place at Tecton for a nice addition off the back of it, okay? Probably not what the chief wants, but, okay? But he put it out there, or is this property available, we can probably do another firehouse or something. So there was a lot of options out there,
Yeah,
okay?
and they did a terrific job of personalizing their
Right.
presentation.
And there was 3 of them, they banged it out of all of us felt that they banged it out of the woods. And that's why we selected them.
So the other 3 that we interviewed, I don't think we could have made a bad choice.
No.
Because they were very strong.
Right.
And it took a lot of discussion for us we felt like 12 angry men sitting in the jury room where we went around the room and everybody had a different thought. And then we went back and, well, why do you? And then we arrived at a consensus.
Yeah, I finally made a motion, I said, guys, listen. I said, listen.
Smart.
It's so close with a couple of them there, it was like, if we had the little cue sheets, it was like a half a point.
Right, yeah, we had score
Guys,
sheets.
everybody here, what do you think about Colliers? And the hands went from the corner all the way around. And
Right.
I said, let's put it to sleep tonight and not sit another meeting, because time's going by.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here
Right,
tonight.
and time is really important for them to get started. We need the contract in place as quickly as possible so that they can get started with the inspect as soon as possible, because it's gonna take some time.
So your recommendation is Colliers.
Yes.
The money you need to pay them up front is 57,000, this number here?
I don't know if it's upfront.
Okay.
We don't have a contract from them yet because we haven't officially announced to anybody.
Yep.
But we've sent out letters that we've arrived at a recommendation. But until you guys tell us that you agree with us, then we can sit with Colliers and say, okay, we need a contract and we can get that started.
Would it be better to put a larger pool of money in there? I mean, we're all under the understanding, if we come to the agreement coming this far, that the 2 buildings with the biggest need are the middle school and the firehouse, based off of this report. And in order to get all this work done, to get to the point of, what, new numbers, architectural designs,
Right.
all of it, we're gonna be spending potentially, what,
So I would say
250?
57.3 plus 180 is really what we see today.
I think 250 is like rounded
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
What
we're-
was the 70,000? I don't know.
So if you go to the last page,
Yep.
with the blue banners,
Okay,
those are items that would come into play if we begin to look at properties other than where the existing buildings are.
okay. Makes sense, thank you.
Because I gotta think throughout this process, you'll be coming up to us with updates,
Yep.
regardless of
Yeah.
what, but we don't wanna hold up parts of the
Yeah, Colin, we're gonna be
financial.
coming back to you guys with an update of where Colliers stands, okay? And then one of these days, we're gonna say, hey, folks, we need money for one architect, two architects,
Yeah.
maybe the school renderings for over here, or
Right.
something new up in the center of town. You know, that firehouse with the ISO and the assurance, that becomes very, you know, where do you put a new firehouse in the center of town? That's one of the questions.
Yeah.
That's what these folks are
That's
gonna
what
do.
these guys are really good
Yeah,
at.
it's not gonna be me or Kevin doing it, it's these guys.
Yeah, we'll be involved with them, and we will also involve the facility managers for the town and for the schools in the day-to-day operations of what Collier needs, so that everybody is staying on schedule. It's gonna be a tough, aggressive schedule to,
If I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like they're an engineering firm, and they hire architects.
So
They're not they don't have architects on staff.
so I would think of them as the experts in how a construction project is organized and managed. They have access to the architects, to the engineers, to the land surveyors, to the school's facility outlets. They have the public safety experts within their ranks.
So they do have architects on staff.
They,
Or
yes,
they
but
go
they're
out and
not,
hire an architectural
Yeah,
firm.
yeah, they, in all the proposals, they'd have to go out and hire an architect.
Right.
Okay.
They said, listen,
Okay.
folks, we don't retain a full-fledged AIA on our staff, okay?
right.
But most of them had estimators in-house, okay, which is good for us for budget, because this thing's gonna be everywhere now. You
Well,
know
no, this is
that.
why we hired them, to tell us and be able to quickly.
No, I
grasp all this
understand
stuff.
that. I'm just trying to find it, because my own experience is architects are a whole different beast.
Right,
Correct, and we want them to manage that.
yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are, that's what they call them,
Owner's project.
owner project manager. They do our budgets, you know, they work for us, the taxpayers.
So
Okay.
Mike, now that I'm trying to let all this marinate very quickly, it is a really aggressive timeline. How long, so how does this work? They're gonna do their work, will they come up with an estimate, or will we have to hire architects?
No, that is one of their big strengths, was their ability to estimate these
Okay.
projects.
Right.
And-
Okay.
And they've already created estimates based on our student population, our forward-looking student
Yep.
estimates, and quite honestly, they don't have full agreement on what we see as going forward with schools, so their recommendation is we do a new
Assessment.
assessment of.
So if I
what the
could,
students are.
during the presentation, Chuck, okay, he was the primary guy. He said, folks, your school down here, your middle school, which is what, 5, 6, and 7 now, I think it is,
Yeah.
isn't it right now? Basically, your school's too big. You know what it's designed for now. You've been in the school system forever. It was a high school.
It's six, seventh, and eighth.
6, whatever it is, okay? And he says it's way too big, okay? So now the brain goes off. Maybe we ought to combine one of the other schools into that one, okay? You know, and that's what these folks are here for.
That's what they're here for. Now, that being said, that if one of those options becomes favorable, and we move a 5th grade up with 6, 7, and 8, do we move another grade back down to another school? Do we, you know, so we're gonna be examining all of that through them and find out how much
Yeah.
this will affect the residuals. And then, how do we maintain all of the other issues that remain in all of the other buildings? That's still gonna be part of their task.
And what do you estimate their to be?
There is a list of deliverables. Basically, if you look at the columns with the blue checks,
Yeah.
that is what we're getting for the 57-3.
I think they're getting us to referendum.
No, that's what I mean, but I mean,
The goal
what's
is
the date? What's the date?
November 26th.
November.
No, that's when we wanted to go to referendum, but when are we gonna have numbers from them? Because you're gonna want public meetings and people
Oh, yeah.
to know.
Oh, it's gonna be happening throughout the next year.
That's gonna be an ongoing process.
No,
from the beginning.
right, but what I'm saying is, when can we say, here's the full project, and we tell the townspeople, you know, will it be June? Will it be August?
When will you approve moving a school to a new project? I mean, we have so many things
Right,
to do before
right.
we can answer that question.
Right, okay.
We have to decide,
So we don't.
keep going.
You're right,
Do we
okay,
renovate, do we replace?
got it.
if we replace, where does it go? Once we come back and you agree, and the townspeople agree,
Yep.
that we're gonna open up a new piece of property for a school or a firehouse or whatever it is, we don't know what it's gonna be. They need to do their due diligence to
Yep.
arrive
Yeah.
at that.
One of the things Chuck told us, that if, with a school facility unit, if you're looking at building a new school, you gotta have a minimum of, what, 12 acres? Right?
12 acres plus
12
another
acres.
acre for every 100 kids.
Another acre for every 100 kids. You try to find that piece of property in this town,
Yeah.
it's tough
You need
going,
25
you know what I
acres.
mean? So, you know, our heads are spinning, Kevin and I, you know, where do you have that kind of property, you know? So, we got
We're gonna be
we
creative.
got our work cut out for us, for
We
these
do.
folks.
We
And,
do.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm not trying to be a smart guy, but we got a lot of way to go before we
Yeah.
start. We're gonna have them start budgeting and scheduling immediately.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like, based on what you've told us and what you've shared with us here, that they've already done a lot of work specific to Suffield
Yes, they have.
and really have gotten a jump on it and are ready to run. And I just want to thank you both and your entire commission for all of your work that you've done so far. I know you have a lot more work you are going to do,
We're getting warm up.
but you guys, I mean, you're our experts in this area and we rely upon you. We tasked you with this and you've done a great job so far, so thank you very
Thank you for
much.
the comment.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Unbelievable
I'm gonna
work.
make a motion that
real quick.
you're gonna do, I was gonna put the money amount.
Okay, yes,
Could
because
I ask a couple
the
of questions?
financials, there's a threshold that we can actually move without a town meeting, so
Okay.
I think we approve the recommendation. And Brad is here, and I'll invite you to this conversation, but there is money set aside for stuff like this in capital.
Yeah, there's money we've been kind of holding back in capital accounts in anticipation of this.
So we may
this
not
effort.
actually have to do a transfer?
We would probably have to transfer the existing accounts because they're purposed for something else
Okay,
to an account specific for this effort.
okay,
There's money on the fire side and there's money on
okay.
the DOE
So
side.
you're good to
So
go.
the way
I
it's
just-
written, okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
we don't.
Without a money
Without
amount.
the transfer.
I mean, I think we discussed, like, looks like a rough estimate, but again, that's Board of Finance really, I think,
Yeah,
the
I
actual
agree.
amount. So-
This estimate is simply based on proposals.
Yeah.
We haven't asked them for any numbers yet.
So I'm going to make a motion that we approve, I'm
I
sorry.
didn't, no, I-
So that's for discussion.
Okay.
No discussion.
We can discuss
You
after
can make
the
the
motion.
motion, we discuss.
So I make a motion that we approve the Permanent Building Commission's recommendation of a firm to provide owner's project manager OPM services for the town of Suffield, transfer funds, and refer to the Board of Finance. And the Mel had a,
All right, the motion has been made, is there?
You don't need to put an
discussion?
amount in it?
I think we're gonna leave it broad, because until they get an actual number,
We need a contract.
we'll come back and
All right.
make that.
Yeah, I had a question. They're gonna do
Thanks, Scott.
student enrollment projections?
Yes.
That's something they do?
They will give, they've already done a lot of work in this area, so they already know that our current projections have been inaccurate or less than accurate for what their purposes are. They are proposing already to use a alternate service to check our numbers, so that when we go to the state, we have the correct project, because the reimbursements are based on 8 years forward.
Right,
oh, 8 years forward.
yeah, I understand.
So we need to have an accurate
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
projection. And that was their concern they expressed to us, and we agreed.
Okay.
And can I just, one last question? We decided to go with the firehouse?
We decided that the firehouse was one of the buildings in
Most
most
critical.
need, yeah.
Our recommendation back
Renovate.
then was firehouse and middle school had
Yep.
equal
Oh.
need.
Yeah,
That was decided at what?
yeah. That's back when Melissa was here and Tecton did the report, and we did the whole presentation here.
I wasn't on, that's why.
Yeah, and then we as a committee, doing the review of the Tecton report, agreed that both buildings
Those were the priority.
had equal priority.
But like you said, we're still looking at the work we're doing on other buildings as well, all at the same time.
We need to be concerned about that. We can't.
Multifaceted.
Exactly.
approach, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
There's gonna be a whole lot of,
Exactly.
And could I, it was simple, well, it's not a simple ask, but it's an ask. Just going forward, maybe not next month, but could you just send the first selectman just an updated 10 bullet points of what happened in the previous month? Just so that we can put it in the minutes, so that people can know
I like
that things are going on and we're trying to be as transparent and,
Sure.
hey, here's what's happening, just so that they can go in and read the minutes real quick
If
and
you
say.
want, we'll come in person and tell you, how's that?
Well, I don't want to bog up a Wednesday night for you.
You're not gonna bog me up.
We're gonna be here tomorrow night, so.
We're here tomorrow.
I mean, and just
Thank
for,
you.
not for nothing, I mean, I think that's a great idea,
Yeah.
although you do put out your own minutes from your meetings. I do read them, you have great detail in there, but it can't hurt
Yeah.
maybe for residents to
Just
get it
bullet
from one
points
place.
I have no problem coming Friday.
I almost think we're at a point where we're gonna see them once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but I kind of
I
thought.
like seeing Mel.
The other question I have is, when we sold the high school, it took 3 to 5 months to sell it to the community
Yes.
in public meetings. And everything was done, all the groundwork was laid, it was already done. So to do something like this, yeah, you're really in a tight.
We know that.
We got our work
We know.
scheduled, we got our work
You
cut out.
certainly do.
And,
I mean, if you're talking about it has to go to the town by December of next 26, you gotta be done this spring
right,
to sell it.
thanks a lot.
You did.
The more questions you ask, the slower them down.
Yeah.
I'm
You
sorry.
gotta- no more-
If you
yeah,
ask more
slowing it down.
questions, you're slowing them down.
You could
I'm
be
getting,
doing-
now I'm getting nervous.
Yeah.
Claire, did you have anything? Comments,
No
questions?
questions, I think it's a great assessment, it sounds like Colliers really did their due diligence and appreciate all the effort you all put in as well.
And we had some other guys that were fantastic, other firms too.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Totally
It's great.
different personalities on each firm.
It's a good problem to have, if you
Yeah.
have great
Yeah,
companies that come out.
Yeah, it speaks highly of the town that these firms are willing to come and put the effort that they did into this, and we have to, thank them publicly, that there was a lot of work that went into these proposals.
So is there any further discussion? All right, well, thank you guys one last time, appreciate everything. I think the real work starts now, right?
Yeah.
I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you
Thank
guys,
you.
thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
We're ready to go. Let's call Chuck.
That's the guy right there with the phone call.
All right, thanks again for coming tonight. You can stick around.
We're on the next agenda.
Yeah, next
That's
agenda.
right.
We're on the next one? What we have for that?
Item number 10 is discussion and approval to charge the permanent building commission with oversight to further explore the costs and designs of a centralized storage facility and special needs school. So at our last meeting, I think everyone was fairly receptive to the idea of repurposing the annex. And I think we, in discussions with Superintendent Dunbar, the next step is spending some money on these architectural designs and taking a look at the centralized storage building and needs we have there. So it would have to go to the permanent building commission next to be overseeing it. So
Good
they
thing
don't have
you
any
got tolerant
concerns.
wives.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Well, I told him, remember like 2 years ago, you guys said you were bored, and I said, just wait.
Yeah, we were bored, we didn't do anything for a year, you know?
I think we made up. We caught up now.
We caught
You guys
up.
be
This
tired.
summer we caught up, or the last part of the summer we caught up, I can tell you that.
So I'm gonna make a motion, then we can have more discussion. So I'm gonna I move that we approve to charge the permanent building commission with oversight to further explore the costs and designs for a centralized storage facility and special needs school.
All right, the motion has been made. Is there any further discussion? I'll just point out, this is not approving building, this is just approving
Exploring
charging
the
these
costs
guys
and
with the
designs.
So,
possibility.
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Are we allocating any funds for us to work with, or how are we doing this?
Exploring the costs and
So if you guys can figure out what those costs are, come back to us and we'll make the request. But I think the school already has some funds allocated for design work,
Okay.
so you probably won't even have
for
to.
that piece for the school,
For the
but
schools.
Yeah.
as it relates to the storage facility, as Colin said, if you have anything, come back to us.
In terms of the special ed, they
Yeah.
mentioned that they had some money.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
They have some architecture.
It's another meeting you can go to.
We've had some discussions on both of those buildings, and in particular with the schools, we're waiting for some financial statistics back, because we need to know how many students makes the project viable, and then how many can we fit into that space before we go much further than that.
Questions we asked at the last meeting.
Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks for your time,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.
Go forth.
And one
Yeah.
last thing before you go, did the air conditioner units get put in?
So 8
Oh,
out
no,
of,
that's October, never mind.
Yeah.
No,
no,
No.
8 out of the 18 are complete.
Yeah.
And we have postponed the last 10 until next summer.
Oh,
We found that there wasn't enough time on a weekend or even a 3-day period to get a unit up, installed, and operating. And every week that goes by, we get closer and closer to the heating season. And the way the school is set up, every unit is tied into one loop. So
Yep.
every time we would change a rooftop heating unit, we would have to drain down the entire
Right.
system.
4,500 gallons.
Yeah. So now that we're putting glycol into the system to protect from freezing, we can't afford to drain that. So we're gonna come back with a new
Oh.
plan next summer. At the same time, we'll be doing a shingle roof and possibly a flat roof. So we're gonna have many people on that roof next summer.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate
Thank
your time
you.
and efforts.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, item number 11 is discussion and approval of further revision explanatory text. We haven't received the text yet from the town attorney, so we actually have to table it.
Mr. Pete, I'll make a motion on table item number 11.
All right, the motion has been made, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 12 is public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? Is there any public comment on Zoom?
Looking left.
Any public comment on Zoom? All right, seeing none, I'm going to move to selectmen updates, and the only update I have as of now is I just wanted to thank the Rotary and Knights of Columbus for the work and setting up another great supplement on the green, all their efforts. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
I just wanted to thank the Friends of the Library. The book sale was a big success. They had 30,000 books and got probably just a few thousand left. I mean, people really came out, even with the weather being what it was. And I thank everybody down for that.
Thank you to them. Anyone else have anything they want to share? All right, I'm going to move to item number 14, executive session, Kings Meadow Lane Development.
So moved.
All right, motion has been made. Is there any discussion?
We don't have Derek here to invite in?
No.
Okay.
All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We'll enter into executive session at 8:07. We'll go upstairs.
Stopped. Progress.
All right, we're coming out of executive session at 8:30. And there is no action on executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.